Great. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mayor Schulman with the Hartford Foundation's Nonprofit Support Program, and I want to welcome you all to our second Social Enterprise Accelerator knowledge sharing session for our cohort that's known as the Entrepreneurial 8. So if you know how to do this, if you want to take a moment and just rename yourselves to include your organization name so that we can associate names with organizations, that would be great. If not, don't worry, we can always hop in and do that for you. So joining me from the NSP team today are Monica Kelly and Tracy Ressler. Special thanks to both of them, and Monica in particular, for helping us to plan and manage the logistics for the session so that things run smoothly. We also have a few other Hartford Foundation staff joining us as well. Thanks, Alyssa. Alyssa Gordon's our Vice President for Community Impact. We're all eager to learn and hear from you about what you've learned thus far in the business planning process and as you kind of continue on your social enterprise journeys. So I just want to sort of stop and say that we realize that it hasn't been all that long since your organization started working with Mike or Larry to develop your business plans for your ventures. And we want to take a moment and acknowledge each of your teams for all of the hard work, the dedication, the perseverance that we know goes into a very highly labor-intensive initiative like this. This group already in this short period of time has generated an impressive amount in revenue that Mike and Larry will share in a bit. And we do want to acknowledge that the 8 organizations in this program come in different sizes and types and have a range of capacities to undertake an intensive initiative like this. So there inevitably will be some struggles and challenges along the way, especially for the smaller organizations. So we just want to sort of acknowledge that. We're excited to hear about the progress you've made on your plans and on your ventures, and we encourage you to share the good, the bad, even the ugly, because we know that this isn't easy, and there will absolutely be ups and downs along the way, and that's just a normal part of the process. So we will be emailing you a short survey immediately following today's session, just asking for your feedback on the session, but also just how your venture planning with Mike, Larry, and Sarah thus far has gone. So please take just a couple of minutes and complete the survey because it's very helpful for all of us to hear what's working and what could be tweaked to make this the best possible experience for you and your organizations. So I'd like to take a moment and thank Sarah Leonard, our wonderful fundraising consultant, for the fundraising support and assistance that she's providing to each of your organizations. And of course, I'd like to thank Mike and Larry, our terrific social enterprise consultants from No Margin, No Mission, for their dedication, their thoughtfulness, and the passion that they bring to this work. So that's all I have, and I will turn it over to you, Mike and Larry.
Great. Thanks, Mayor. Welcome, everybody. And we want to just acknowledge and thank both the Entrepreneurial 8 for all of your hard work, to echo what Mayor said, to also thank you all for committing a significant amount of time this afternoon out of your busy schedules. We know this is a long Zoom session, but we've got a lot to cover. And it is the culmination of a lot of work that everybody's done before we launch into our final phase of the initiative. And we'll talk more about that in a few minutes. Also, we want to acknowledge and just extend deep appreciation to the Hartford Foundation team for their generous support of this initiative. Again, to the NSP team, Mayor Monica Tracy, to Alyssa and everybody else at the Hartford Foundation, we very much appreciate the investment in helping these organizations to grow and evolve and thrive. So with that, I'm going to just share my screen, pull up some slides, and we will launch right into it. We do have a lot to cover today. So hopefully everybody can see this. You are the Entrepreneurial 8. It's a really wonderful tapestry of organizations. As Mayor said, different sizes, shapes, missions, and we really appreciate the sort of unique focus that each organization has and the teams and how you've done your work to bring your earned income ventures to life. Not going to do anything deep here in the housekeeping, but as we're going through, please feel free to put anything you'd like to in the chat. We are going to be opening the session obviously up for lots of conversation, discussion, and questions. So If we don't get it in the chat, raise your hand and we'll call on you. If you would like to get connected on social media, please feel free to do so. We will be sharing a group photo after today's session, so be on the lookout. Speaking of which, let's do a quick Zoom photo. And bear with me, I'm going to do a couple here because we've got a lot of people on the session. I want to make sure I get everybody in here. So now's your opportunity to put yourself on video so we can see your smiling faces. And let's everybody smile at the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's do one more. Hang on. Another countdown. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you for that. And as I said, be on the lookout tomorrow on social media. This will be up on No Margin, No Missions, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. All right, so we can't have a session without a quote of the day. And our quote of the day is that running a business is easy. Said no one ever. We know that this has been a process, and a process that involves, I guess, to Mayor's point, blood, sweat, and tears. So anybody will tell you, whether you're in a business that's for profit or nonprofit, that it requires a big commitment. And for each of your organizations, not only have you committed, but you've shown that you're up for the challenge. And to that point, again, to share with you something that Mayor referenced earlier, we want to applaud all of you because collectively, the Entrepreneurial 8 have raised in excess of $550,000 in startup and growth capital. That is a huge accomplishment. You worked hard to do that. You had support from Sarah Leonard and the foundation to do that, but you did it on your own with the help of your donors and those who have generously opened their wallets to help you raise that capital. And again, remember, you can't run a business without having some capital to fund it. The second part of this is, and this is another big round of applause for all of you, that collectively, you've already generated in excess of $320,000 in earned revenue from your ventures. So another big round of applause, because that is an outstanding number, because remember, many of your organizations are just getting started with brand new ventures. So this in and of itself is quite remarkable as well. So with those fun facts, just a couple of brief goals for our session today. Yes, you are going to be sharing some of your business plan implementation outcomes and highlights. You've got some slideshows to share that will do that. The second part of the session is going to be about sharing knowledge, learning, successes, challenges, opportunities that have resulted from this implementation phase of work. So that'll be our the second part of the session with our learning and sharing topics. Included as one of those topics is the opportunity for each of you to share a way that you either have collaborated or partnered with another team in the Entrepreneurial 8, or that you would like to. And that's always a fun part of this session because it does lead to opportunities. And lastly, this is an opportunity for everybody to celebrate all that you've accomplished, because you've accomplished a lot. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Larry to talk about the agenda.
Well, I think Mike just pretty much went through the agenda, but as the first part of the agenda is really, you'll be sharing your business plan highlights. And each one of you has spent a lot of time putting together your slide presentations. You'll each get about 10 minutes to do that, and Mike and I will introduce you accordingly. And then the second part is we have our 5 questions that you'll be answering, and we'll call on each group, and we'll go through those 5 questions, and then we'll wrap up. We'll wrap up by 3:30, and we'll keep everyone on time and on task. We'll also give you a 2-minute warning when you're doing your slide presentations. So we start with the business plan implementation highlights. As I said, your team will get 10 minutes to present, and then we'll do a little Q&A. after each one of the presentations. Something that we got in the feedback during our first knowledge sharing session was some of you went over your 10 minutes. So we're going to give you a 2-minute warning verbally. Don't be surprised if Mike or I jump in and say 2 minutes. We'll do that for sure. And then the second part is the learning and sharing topics. We'll spend about 10 minutes on each topic, one topic at a time. And then we'll wrap up with some Q&A after that. Business plan implementation, all of you are in progress. You're all at pretty much various stages of execution. Some of you are in full bore. Some of you are just getting started. Now is a really good time to ask questions. Ask questions of the other teams. And as I said, some of you are in various stages and can learn from each other. There's a lot of similarities. And Mike and I realize that some of you have already reached out to some of the other team members and are learning from each other. Learning curves vary. And as I said, some of you are already learning from each other. So without any hesitation, we're going to jump in. And the very first group is AHM. And I would love to introduce Tressa and her team. Tressa, if you would love to take it over and share your screen and kick it off for us. And again, I will, I'm sorry, but jump in and give you the 2-minute warning when it's time. Tressa. Have to take yourself off the mute, probably.
All right, can everybody see my screen okay?
Yes.
Good, good. Well,
Yes.
thank you. Thank you so much. Like Mike or Larry had said, my name is Tressa Giordano, and I'm the director of AHM Youth and Family Services. I also have Michael Thurs. He is our financial consultant, so he is on with me today. And we're just really excited to share kind of what we've been up to. I'm sure like many of you, the past few months have been very busy, kind of a whirlwind, but we've been just so grateful for the opportunities that the foundation has provided us, the guidance that Larry and Sarah have given us. And we're really excited about the progress that we've made so far and kind of where we're heading on into the summer and the fall. So we're just very excited. So we're a Youth and Family Services Bureau.
Tressa, can you just put it in slideshow mode? Sorry about that.
Okay, so on my end it is.
Is it?
Okay.
Okay.
It is. Okay, hold on a second.
Do you have two screens? If you have two screens.
I do. I do have two screens.
Yeah.
How about that?
There you
Yeah.
go.
There you go.
Thank you.
Better? Okay, good. All right. This is gonna be a little weird for me. So we are located in Hebron, and we serve 4 towns. We serve Hebron, Marlborough, Andover, as well as Columbia. And for 39 years, we have been the Youth Service Bureau for these 4 towns. So in total, we service about 18,000 residents, mainly, like I said, youth and their families. And so we have been around for a very long time, and we take that job and responsibility very seriously here because there's a lot going on within our communities. And so we like to be able to service them as best we can. And so our mission has always been to provide mental health and positive youth development services to assist children and young people along with their families in all different sorts of creative and supportive ways in caring environments. We really want to see our young folks reach their maximum potential and be successful members of our community and our society. And so our hope is to promote great health and wellness, especially around mental health, and just be an avenue for folks to be a part of a greater community. And so what we have found over the past couple of years, especially since COVID, is that our youth are experiencing a mental health crisis. Just like much of our country is, we kind of see more the side of youth and what they're experiencing, which is a lot of anxiety, a lot of social and emotional struggles. We're seeing then sometimes that create behavior problems, especially at home and in school. It could sometimes then follow some academic issues. Then all of that can at times cause family conflict. And then we find that our parents are just then having some of their own mental health needs. We found that during COVID, a lot of this kind of came to a head because folks were isolated from the resources and the sports that they maybe had in school prior. And so it's just been a really hard situation. And although children are back in school and somewhat back to their normal schedules, we are still seeing the fallout from that. In addition, we also have a lot of our young adults just dealing with society pressures with social media. And so it has been a very hard time for our youth across the country, but especially here in our area, where we tend not to have a whole lot of resources for this type of struggle. And so AHM kind of becomes the catch-all for this. And so in 2023, we scheduled over 2,000 outpatient counseling appointments in our building. And so that was with 2 full-time and 1 part-time therapist. And so for us, that is a record year. 2023 was a record year. Even seeing those 2,000 counseling appointments, we had waiting lists and just more and more students being added to that waiting list. And those referrals were coming from not only our schools, but also just calls or emails that would come from our website. AHM at this point has never marketed our clinical program. We've never put anything out on social media that we have openings, and we've never put anything out in the newspapers that community members receive locally because we just never had open slots. So we decided that the time for AHM to expand the clinical program is now. And so this was in a quick snapshot, kind of our plan for opening up and extending our services. So we devised a plan where we wanted to hire a clinical supervisor and mentorship coordinator who would oversee a junior licensed therapist as well as 2 clinical interns. In order to do that, we needed to create a space for our new supervisor and our interns. We needed to employ a junior licensed therapist. We also knew that we needed to connect with our area universities to partnership for intern programs and those who are interested in becoming clinical therapists. We also decided that if we were going to expand, it was probably a good idea to offer group therapy opportunities. This is something that we had had a lot of requests for, but again, just based on our bandwidth at the time, we weren't really ever able to offer. So this is our plan, and Larry did a great job of helping us kind of devise this solid plan. Sarah did an amazing job in helping us kind of cultivating the right people in the room for our fast pitch. And we were very excited that when we had our fast pitch and the weeks kind of following the fast pitch, we were able to fully fund our venture, which was $85,000. Our goal was 75, we raised 85. So we were very, very excited about that. And so with that, our AHM family is in the process of growing, which we're super excited about. Prior to our new staff starting, we had 27 employees, and obviously as we grow with these positions as well as interns, we'll be into the 30s, which is so exciting. And so we had to go out there and recruit for these staff positions. And so we used a number of ways of doing that, a lot of social media, our Facebook page, our LinkedIn page, our Instagram page. We tend to do a lot of hiring through those means. So we found that to be pretty effective. We also use Indeed and some of those free sites that we have access to. But we were very pleased and we were able to find amazing people pretty quickly, which is kind of surprising because in many areas of hiring, it is hard to find great candidates. We really tried to play up some of the advantages of coming to work for a nonprofit. One of those being loan forgiveness for college debt. I think that's something that we found that candidates were very interested in. We also try our best to keep our client their caseloads manageable. And we did a lot of research looking at some of our competitors and what they're maybe offering for new staff caseloads. And we wanted to stay under what those quotas were, knowing that this field is very hard. And we see that a lot of therapists at times burn out. And that is something that we didn't want to happen with our new employees. We also wanted to ensure that we were offering a high quality level of supervision and guidance. So as these new employees were onboarded to AHM, they felt welcomed, supported, and guided through their first few months.
We're at 2 minutes, Tressa.
Okay, so we were very excited to hire our mentorship program coordinator. Her name is Danielle, and she brings a vast experience of clinical internship experience. We're very excited to have her. She started full-time in June. She started part-time in May, and that transition has been amazing. She also has a small caseload of outpatient clients, and she's been doing fabulous. Then we were very excited to bring on Julia. She is our junior level outpatient therapist, and she has also been seeing clients and has a full caseload as well. So we were very excited right out of the gate to find these two individuals. With that, we had to create some new spaces. That's probably been one of our biggest challenges, is just where are we going to put all of our new people? But I think we made some adjustments in the building that have created really nice offices that are not only welcoming to our youth, but will also be good spaces for our interns. Some snapshots of what those look like. And so next, we've been building relationships with our local universities. We're thrilled to have signed a 5-year contract with the University of Connecticut, and we have 2 interns that will be starting with us in the fall. And we are looking to also talk with St. Joe's in Central. So again, we were really excited right out of the gate to be able to get some really awesome interns, and we've interviewed and had them to the building, and they're super excited to start in the fall. So some other things that we've just kind of found as we've ventured into this expansion, that we do need to kind of create some implementation documents for these interns and junior licensed clinicians. So those are being worked on right now, making sure that they understand what it means to work at AHM within this role. And we do have a plan to have our supervisor and our junior licensed clinician start some therapeutic groups this summer. And like I said, our interviews pretty much have winded down now, and those interns will be starting in the fall when they go back to UConn. The next thing that we've made sure that we've done is just staying in contact with those that did support this expansion. So whether it's emails, posts on our website and social media, introducing our new staff to our board members and our donors, putting out press releases in local newspapers. We're planning on having a night of gratitude this summer. A few of our donors that supported our fast pitch are only here in the summertime, so we want to make sure we're able to get them in before they go back to Florida. And we've also been going to some of the speaking engagements at some of the foundations that supported us. They have some golf tournaments this summer, and they've asked us to attend to kind of share our progress. So that's really great. These are just some pictures of past night of gratitude events that we've had. So we really make that night all about the donor, showing them how grateful we are for their contributions, and really showing them and telling them some success stories of how their donation has changed the youth's lives in our community.
We're going to have to wrap it up soon.
That's perfect.
Okay, there you go.
So yeah, so just thank you to the foundation and no margin omission, and Sarah. And if you have any questions, good thing I practiced
Great.
that, right?
All right. Thank you. Any questions, Tressa? Very none.
Oh, I think you're on mute, Michael.
Nice job, Tressa. A couple of questions. One, I thought the idea for attracting your new employees by offering loan forgiveness was a really smart thing to be able to offer. Did either of those new employees take you up on it?
So that is something that I believe they both are going to take advantage of. You do have to apply for that. But for the employees that we currently have that have taken advantage of that, have had no problems on being able to get that acceptance. And as far as the documentation goes, you know, from our end with the organization, there has been no problem. So that has definitely been a nice recruitment factor that we use pretty much for all of our positions.
Does that get funded from like an endowment of some sort, or do you have a funder that covers it, or how typically how
No,
did you
that
cover
I believe is a federal forgiveness program. Yep, I believe you have to work in nonprofit for 10 years and it has to be a full-time status.
Great idea. The other thing I just wanted to acknowledge was I love the graphics that you had for your We're Hiring social media posts. Did you guys do that in-house, or do you have a graphic designer that you use?
So we have a full-time graphic designer, social media website specialist. So we did create those in-house. I will say though that we tend to use Canva quite a bit right now. We just find that it's versatile. You can come up with an image, or you can use a lot of the templates that they have, but you can resize them for your different social media outlets. So that for us seems to work really great. We also use Hootsuite, which I know you can get a nonprofit rate for, and that helps us to schedule out all of our social media posts. So we don't have to take the time to put them, you know, on multiple platforms. We just schedule everything through Hootsuite. It'll hit all of our social medias at the same time, or we actually look at a lot of the analytics of when people are on specific platforms. So we'll schedule them when we know that people are kind of scrolling through their phones.
Nice. Well, very nicely done. Thank you.
Thank you.
I also wanted to mention that probably after the fourth presentation, we'll take about a 10-minute break. So just everyone can know that, and you'll be able to stand up and stretch. So, Mike.
All right. Next up, the Harriet Beecher Stowe Center. So I'd like to introduce Karen Fisk, the executive director. Karen, I'll turn it over to you, and you can introduce your team members who have joined us as well.
Karen, you.
Sorry about that.
There we go. There you are.
Hi, I'm Karen. I am here with Sean Jenden, who is our former treasurer, Dave Jenkins, who was our board chair, former board chair, Yatina Young, who has worked throughout this whole process with us, and possibly Angie, who I will introduce you to in the course of this PowerPoint.
Yeah, I'm in.
There she is. Okay. Stowe on the Go is a program, not a program, sorry, Michael. Stowe on the Go is a social enterprise where we facilitate common ground for common good. We approach team building a little differently maybe than some other groups might. We have ideals of civil discourse. We look through a lens of equity, inclusion, diversity, which many people on this meeting do as well, and with open minds. The idea is that we can learn from each other when we fully listen to each other, which means that being in discussion with each other is one of the best ways to move forward together. And as I say here, we're almost like a mobile history dialogue using real artifacts. And you can read that slide. So we figured out during the business implementation period how we're going to bring forward our Stow on the Go experiences. And you can see here some of the ideals that we follow: an opportunity to talk together in brave space, a chance to listen deeply to each other, guided by a facilitator, a moment to consider an object and its story, which might help us see from a different perspective, an experience of seeing in a new way in order to move forward, possibly in a different way. We also figured out how we're going to interact with our clients. This is work that includes talking first with leadership, then meeting together with the participants in a very specific way, breaking into small groups for further discussion, reconvening, and closing. So much work, and $100,000 later, we've made some really wonderful friends, and we've renewed some old friendships. It's been a very, very positive, very inspiring process. And now we're ready to be on the move. We've hired an amazing sales and marketing manager. That's Angie, who you just met a little bit earlier when she said she was indeed here. She's already actively looking for prospects. She might even reach out to you. We've developed some templates. Mostly this is Angie's work already. We've engaged a branding and marketing expert. This is Rich Holland, who many of you might know because he probably worked on your organization as well. We've assembled our team. We still do need a car. We've secured our domain name. And we've gone through many, many iterations of what our program would look like. These are pages that Anita Durkin has been working on, and you can see her different formulas and matrices to get to the place where we feel like we have a really strong program. And now we have 3 programs ready to roll. One is called Words Are Powerful, another called Words Build Worlds, and a third one called Common Ground for Common Good. We've done some prototyping. Here's one of our groups. We've received feedback from this group, and we secured our first client. And last night actually was our team went and had their experience with the Rocky Hill Congregational Church, and it went incredibly well. We learned a lot, and I think we shared a lot. We also have some more folks in the pipeline. And this is our timeline. So Stow on the Go is on sale now. We've got a marketing plan, we've got sales goals, we've got our outreach metrics. We're in the branding process. So that's something that's going to probably take, we started already in May. It's probably going to take through July to have that all in place. We're building partnerships even as we speak here. Our official launch will be soon. We want to be able to have all of our branding in place before we do our official launch. And we truly hope to reach our first year goal of $75,000 sometime in December. And the picture here of people building the plane as it's flying is a very real thing. I think probably all of us have been feeling that way, but we're excited about it at the same time because look, they're succeeding at it. Now, in this process, we have sat down with Rich Holland to begin our branding. And one exercise he had us do was to look at a whole bunch of different words to help explain what we're trying to achieve, and to put it and to settle from these many words on 3 words to explain what we're trying to do. And I'm going to share those words with you now. And this was our summary. We work together with participants to move past guilt, explore the truth of history, and inspire wonder so that we can grow. That's what Stow on the Go is all about. This is what we're hoping for, that every participant will look to their neighbor, look to their coworkers, look to their friends and say, I'll think about what you just said. We're grateful for all of you being here together with us, the Entrepreneurial 8. We're also thankful to our donors, our staff and board, of course, the Hartford Foundation for Public Giving, No Margin, No Mission, and the Sarah Leonard Group. And we want to express our thanks by offering everybody here a 25% discount if you'd like to book a Stow on the Go experience. If there are any questions, we'd love to try to offer some answers.
Anybody have questions for Karen? I saw there was a question from Sarah, but I don't know. Sarah, was that from the last presentation, or was that from this one? Sarah, from you, Rise? Looked like your hand was up. No?
No, my hand wasn't up.
Okay, sorry about that. Karen, can you just take a moment and maybe offer any thoughts that you have on, for the Entrepreneurial 8 in particular, what would be perhaps a need or a desire that an organization like one of them may have to engage with you for Stow on the Go?
Yeah. I'll go for the hottest topic there is right now. Why not? We'll wade right into it. There's a lot of disagreement and a lot of confusion and a lot of pain around the war in Gaza. You could engage Stow on the Go to come and help your team discuss that. We think with a positive outcome.
Nice. So again, the whole idea of having difficult conversations and engaging a team to be able to talk about it in a way that can have some positive and productive outcomes.
Yeah, I honestly, it was a little bit of a blur at the beginning of the presentation. I'm not sure if I said that the reason that we approach difficult topics with a historical object or a historical document or a historical person is to be able to take a sidestep away from the personal. So if you take a really hard topic and you walk, just like I said, a sidestep away or just a step back from it being about each individual and instead being about this thing in the middle of the room that you're talking about, you can get into the intricacies and the nuances of the history before you even start to talk about the present. And that gives people an opportunity to move past a personal feeling of guilt or blame and be able to talk objectively, perhaps, about the topic.
Karen, can you comment on the objects? For example, you showed one in one of the slides. What was that? Because obviously it was something that was from Harriet's, I guess it's part of the archives or part of your collection, right?
That's right. The picture that I shared was of a gold-plated bracelet that was given to Harriet by women from London to celebrate emancipation. And it is a gold-plated chain link shackle. So in other words, this thing of oppression made into ornament. And on it, it has the date of emancipation in London, in England, and space for when there would be a date of emancipation in the United States. And that's used to talk about who has the authority or the right to name something as decorative versus what its actual use was.
Thanks, Karen. I think there's a couple of questions in the chat. From Janika, it says, did you create the feedback forms in-house or outsource?
We did everything in-house now that we have Angie with us.
And then Larissa at Leadership Creator Hartford said, and what are some of the takeaways, key learnings from your test programs?
What we heard most was this was much more of an enjoyable process than we thought it was going to be. It was also enlightening. Folks learned things that they didn't know before. And the path from the past into the present was pretty seamless, and they felt comfortable in that path, which is what led to the happier outcome than a painful outcome. And so when we said redemption, truth, and wonder, we really struggled with that word redemption. Is that the right word? And we came to the conclusion that it was the right word because of the process of going through that understanding of why things are the way they are now because of systems of oppression and also systems of activism to change the oppression. Again, it really felt triumphant by the time we were done with the program.
I think that's
Wonderful.
interesting feedback, Karen. I think it'll be interesting as you develop your branding and marketing materials, how you can communicate some of that, right? Because I think knowing that you have weighty, hard topics, which is the purpose of having these conversations, you're still working to create teams afterwards, and to know that you can leave that experience going through a whole process, but leaving with a sense of triumph or joy or appreciation for it. I think that needs to be a part of your messaging, because otherwise it could feel maybe too weighty to lean into for some folks. So to make sure it feels accessible. That's an interesting note.
What you're saying is absolutely right. And we could not be in better hands than with Rich Holland. He gets it. And he has also taken the Stow on the Go experience, and he's going to help us make sure that we keep a brand promise. Yes. Express and keep the brand promise.
I think to that point, it was interesting because Karen and her team actually put the branding out for bid as part of this implementation phase of work. And Rich really blew all of us away just in terms of how he sort of pitched the project, the language that he used. As Karen said, I mean, he truly did get it and was able to put it in terms that are readily understandable, identifiable, and very compelling. So you're right, Larissa. I mean, that was really important, I think, as part of this process. And Karen, to your point, Rich and Collab are a great resource. I know Heartbeat Ensemble used them for their branding, and he did a fantastic job. And we were looking at the work that he did, even as part of our implementation work for Heartbeat. So more to come on that, I guess, in a minute. But thank you all for your good questions. Anybody
Can
have
I respond? Yeah, I wanted to respond to Artie Hill, who mentioned in the chat that they've seen chains in decor stores, and that it's given them pause. And I absolutely agree that things definitely have different meaning for different people. And that is absolutely part of what we try to facilitate in these conversations. The idea that one definition of a word, for instance, is not the same for every single person in the room. And that if we can open ourselves up enough to hear the different definitions and why they exist. And in the case of the chains being used as decoration, it's an incredible opportunity to be able to talk with each other about what that means for each person, if people are willing to talk about it.
Thanks, Karen. Artie, thanks for that question. And just before we wrap, Mayor Schulman noted a comment here. I'm sure you'll build a reservoir of quotes from participants that can be used to market to future clients. And yes, absolutely. Okay, let's move on. So I'd like to introduce Godfrey Simmons, who leads Heartbeat Ensemble. Godfrey, I'll turn it over to you to share and also to introduce your team.
Yes, thank you, Michael. Yeah, let me get this up here. With me today, and can you see my screen or no? Have I shared yet?
Not yet.
Okay, great. Good. Hold on. I'm that guy. All right,
If you can't pull it up, Godfrey, I can pull it up on mine.
I got it. Okay. All right, here we go. Can you see it?
Well,
Yeah,
All right. Can you see it more?
got it.
Fantastic. Great, good. So great to be here with you all. Uh, Also with me is Rhoda Saratelli, our longtime managing director, and Janika Brown Springer, who is our director of lifelong learning. And we've all been working with Michael on this over the past year, and more. So yeah, let's just jump right in. Heartbeat Ensemble is embarking on our social enterprise called Stories Toward a Beloved Community. About in the throes of the pandemic, we've been thinking about a few things, how we can use the work that we do in terms of storytelling to try to figure out how people can move forward through the lens and trying to deal with things around race and around gender, so many things that were going on. So we're really excited that we are at the precipice of really kind of like launching it. Heartbeat Ensemble, we create theater that really strives to kind of get rid of the boundaries that separate us through race, through gender, through class, through geography. And what we want to do is to help build a more equitable and just living communities and working communities, which really aligns with what we want to do with Stories Toward a Beloved Community. Stories Toward a Beloved Community, this is a professional development program in which we're using storytelling techniques to help build these more equitable and more just working communities and learning communities. We utilize interactive theater, storytelling strategies such as story circles, and real kind of experiential learning in order to help people deal with complex diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice issues. And as you can see we worked with Rich Holland as well way back in the day. And when we were thinking about rebranding Heartbeat Ensemble, we developed a new logo and the like. These were the three words that we came up with: wonder, truth, and justice. And that those three kind of can help us build community, and that a community can hold that, but that without that we can't actually build a beloved community, which is Heartbeat's ultimate goal. And so there are basically three different components of that make up Stories Toward a Beloved Community. There are our story circles, which is pretty foundational. Basically, it's a modality that was developed by John O'Neill, a great Black theater maker from New Orleans. And basically, the idea is everybody gets to tell a story. They get the same amount of time to tell it. Nobody gets interrupted. And then there's some processing afterward. I've given you the real bare bones of that. We facilitate this with groups, students, workplaces. We've done it with I think there's some nonprofit leaders here that we did it with as well. And so really, that's about really kind of a sneaky way of getting people to really engage in people who are either strangers or they don't know as well, or maybe they work right next to them, but it's really building community through using story. Forum theater is basically using the theater of the oppressed model of Augusto Boal to offer a way for folks to see an incident or a series of incidents that aren't very positive, that affect their learning environment or their working environment, or somehow affecting kind of like what they do. And when that thing happens, how do you actually get to a point where you can try some stuff out? And so you do the play based on research that you've done with an organization. You do the play, create the play, do the play, and then you run the play once through, and then everybody gets a chance to see it a second time, and they get to stop the action when they feel like something's, can be changed in order for the outcome to change. This has been really useful in dealing with issues of race and work equity so far in terms of what we've been doing with it. And interactive simulations, which are basically a program for people to essentially practice what they do. For example, if you're at a medical organization and you want your doctors to try to learn how to work, interact with patients better, more equitably, this is a thing that we do with interactive simulations. We've been working on implementing our business plan, focusing on growth capital, marketing, business development. We've done a pretty good, it seems like we've done a pretty good job at these things. With our capital raise, we've gotten $61,000. Thanks to the Hartford Foundation for Public Giving, some benefits that were done on our behalf, our own kind of gala raises as well. We were posting on social media, and designating some of our proceeds toward the capital raise. We're still working on raising the rest of it. 59 grand we got to raise. What we wanted to do, the reason why we wanted to raise this money was to hire someone, a business person, to really start to kind of sell what we're doing, to sell stories toward a beloved community to prospective clients. And so we're halfway there toward the whole, but that's our next thing is to hire basically a business development person to really work on building what we've started to put out there. Our staff is probably smaller than a lot of folks on this call. We've got 3 folks. And so we really need to get someone in that can really focus on selling it to the different constituents. So our marketing, we've created some new website landing pages that go to each thing that we're doing. As you can see here, with photos that we've started to curate from the different things that we're doing. And then we're getting a word out on social media, including LinkedIn, which I didn't really realize is actually social media. It was pretty funny. But I because you just think of, oh, it's this work thing. It's all social media.
2 minutes, Godfrey.
What'd you say?
2 minutes.
Thank you. We've got a new flyer that we're going to start distributing both digitally and using some print formats. As I said earlier, we're building a great photo library. And I like this quote from Heiko Liebes, "This is everybody's business." We're sending out our email introductions. You know, and even the people that we know, we're getting email and, you know, basically kind of sending like the package. This is a letter from answering one of the co-founders of Heartbeat, Julia Rosenblatt, who wanted to connect us with the Capital Community College where she teaches. But we still did the thing. We sent that letter and kind of like, what we're really getting a chance to do is really kind of just practice, like figuring out like, what's the package, what's the way in which we're going about, what's the method and what's the machine of going about procuring clients. Like I said, we're hiring a business development consultant to kind of grow our revenue and our mission impact. We've added a bunch of new organizations to our roster. You know, Leadership Greater Hartford's on the call. Hey, we were just there last month, which was fantastic, actually. We're getting some feedback. This is from May from Leadership Greater Hartford. So this is fresh off the transom in terms of the kinds of things that we're doing. And this is from Holy Cross. What we're finding is that people are leaning into this idea that when we hear each other's story, it can turn the temperature down. It can actually help us to be in a better place, to move forward, to do some different things, to just work better with each other. It's been really exciting seeing some of the lights, kind of like the light bulb go off when folks just hear somebody's story or hears the stories of people that they've been working with for 5 or 6 or 8 years, or they've seen it in the community, right? It's just really exciting to see people lean into that and to think of that as a starting place for doing building stuff. We were just at the agriculture school at UConn, and we helped them build a new DEIJ statement, starting with using story circles. So it was really exciting. We've generated 128 grants so far. You know, we're excited about that, and we're excited to offer a 15% discount to our partners here. If you'd like to book us for any part of Stories Toward a Beloved Community. So yeah, there's a long way to go. We want to hire an artistic producer to kind of help keep an eye on the quality control of Stories Toward a Beloved Community. But we're really excited and thankful to the Social Enterprise Accelerator for HFPG, No Margin, No Mission, Sarah Leonard, awesome, and Heartbeat's board and staff and our ensemble, especially our actors and facilitators and supporters. This work is not easy. It costs, and I can't say that enough. It's why we're trying to raise so much money for it. This has a cost emotionally and psychically to the actors and the facilitators who are doing this kind of work. So definitely big shout outs to them.
Great. Thank you, Godfrey. Well done. I see there's some comments in the chat box. Andre at Leadership Greater Hartford said, "You rock the house." Karen Fisk said, "This is fantastic." And she noted that she's experienced Stories Toward a Beloved Community, and it's excellent, thoughtful, has high impact. And Reverend Lydell Brown said, "Thanks for all that you do, Heartbeat Ensemble."
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions for Godfrey? If you do, raise your hand, put them in the chat box. And if not, we can go on to the next presentation. All right. Well,
Accusations work too.
What's that?
I said accusations work too.
Right. Okay, well, of course, you can feel free to follow up offline with Godfrey. Any or all of you can take them up on their offer for the 15% discount if you want to engage them to do a Stories Toward a Beloved Community. And with that, why don't we move on to the next of the organizations? So I'm going to introduce, let's see. Tricia, am I introducing you from Hartford's Camp Current?
Yes.
All right. So Tricia Rowold is going to share, or at least share a portion of the slides, and I'll let you introduce your team, Tricia. So take it away.
Thank you very much. As I pull up the PowerPoint presentation here, also joining me, sorry, I can't talk and multitask here. Joining me is our CEO and Executive Director, Corianne Chapello. We have our Mission Engagement Coordinator, Sam Tapper, on as well, and our board member who's been through this venture with us from the very beginning, who we greatly appreciate, Evan Seaman. So let me go ahead and get my PowerPoint going. The box is in the way of the button. Oh boy. Sorry, folks. One moment.
Do you want me to come give you a hand, Tricia?
All right, can you see my slideshow? Does everyone see it? Oh, you're on mute, Mike.
Yeah.
Okay, I see some yeses. We're good? Okay, all right. Thank you, Godfrey. All right, so here we go. The pavilions at Hartford's Camp Current. So thank you for joining us on our business plan implementation presentation here. So we're really proud to announce that we have launched the pavilions at Hartford's Camp Current, where all of the net proceeds from our rental bookings help provide that place where Hartford's children can participate in recreational and educational experiences and be children and have fun in a safe environment where they're fed and cared for and bridge the gap between school years. So we have done a lot to get us where we are. Our doors are open and so are our pavilions. We'll go over the capital raise, communications, marketing, business development, and operations today. So first thing, we had to secure some funding. We went really broad. So by this, we just kept reaching out to anyone and everyone. Social media, we had a website pop up. If you went to our website, right in your face, it said, please donate and double your impact. We did some e-blasts and we did campaign specific posts and things like that as well. So we are proud that our fast pitch raised $65,000. We do have a little more to go, but we are really proud of that already.
Hey, Tricia, I'm not seeing your slides advance. It's not in slideshow mode, so I don't know if you've moved the slides or not.
I have, let me see here, and it should, all right, give me a second here. Let me see if I can move this. Do you see a slide with securing funding?
No.
Are you sharing multiple screens?
No, I'm only on one single laptop screen here. Let me do
If you want, I can
stop
pull it up on
sharing
my,
and
I can pull it up on my computer.
I'll see what you got.
I don't know, Mike, your Apple messes up my
All right.
my
then-
PowerPoint. I'm sorry, folks. Let me do this again here.
That's pretty astounding.
It is. Thank you, Sam. Okay, let's see. Okay, this does say PowerPoint. Share. All right, what do you see now?
There you go.
It's a full screen.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see if it advances now that
The
we're all
securing
here.
funding.
We're all in the same spot. Let's see here. Okay. Oh, so it moved for everyone, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, folks. Okay, so also for securing funding,
We went personal. We were just, writing personal emails, picking up the phone, writing the thank you cards when they did make that donation. And for communications, we've done a lot of press releases. We have a lot of great partnerships that have allowed this communication to go through. So we've had press releases with the Metro Hartford Alliance, Hartford Business Journal, Hartford Current, iHeartMedia has done some. They did an interview with Corianne, and Hartford Foundation for Public Giving as well, of course. And we have actually had people, when these press releases were released, people contacted me immediately, which was really great to see. Here's an example of some of our press releases. And for marketing, so we've gone ahead and enhanced some things that we're already doing for camp. So we already do social media, but we sort of changed gears and made them very specific for our rental venture. And we started a campaign about, did you know Camp Current has this pavilion directly next to a playground that you can rent for children's parties? And, did you know about corporate retreats? And did you know about, we're going to do a holiday post one as well. Word of mouth has been huge. Every single person who comes in, we talk about it, our volunteer groups, any visitors, anyone having meetings here, specific e-blasts for it, as well as putting articles into our own newsletters. And here are some of the images for that. Continuing our Did You Know campaign. We created some new methods. So we have a commercial that was made. It's right on our website. Features Sam and myself. And we did postcards. We've done postcards before, but we did postcards exclusively for this, mailed out to corporations in our local area here. And we're going to continue multiple campaigns about postcards. We have a website landing page now just for the rental. We're creating a brochure right now to hand out with specific information and to include pricing. It's in newspapers and online paper ads. We're going to try to create an event expo here. We're going to do it in the fall, so we could really put the proper time and effort into it. And we're doing some style shoots that are going to be here, and we'll have a 3D tour taken at that time so people can actually go online and see our space as if they're walking through. For operations, we did put some systems in place to ensure we're staying professional and that we're, being true to our commitments with our rentals. So HoneyBook software, we're getting that up and running as well, which is going to help with the rental agreements and calendars and keeping all the moving pieces in place. So we'll have that formal agreement. We're working on a draft job description of an event coordinator who could come in and help us on evenings and weekends because it's a lot of extra hours. And then we have pricing lists that we've made now. So we have a pricing list. It's a standard pricing list, community partners. We have one for staff, but it's really great because we also put together add-ons. So, rent our popcorn machine, rent our snow cone machine, let us do the linens for you, and let us do, balloons, that kind of thing. So you can really add on a lot and raise the income that way. So business development, this is where we've spent a lot of our time and efforts in making sure that this venture is known and talked about and bringing in mission funding. So some sales tactics behind the scene. Like I said, we're doing a style shoot, which is going to help us with photos because photos are really important when you're trying to sell your space. People want to see what it can look like, not just a plain room. There's personal emails to our current contacts, just reaching out, letting them know what we're doing, giving tours of our space. Anyone who wants to come in for a tour, we are certainly open for that. Putting rental links into our email address signature lines as well. Some more in-person sales tactics. We've been doing a lot of networking through local networking events, chamber events. I've personally joined the BNI chapter right here in Farmington. So that's specifically to sell camp as a rental venue. We've done table vendor events. We're speaking to all of our volunteers and our guests here at camp. And we're putting together our preferred vendor list as well. So we have had some bookings. We are chugging along. We are very excited that we've had 12 confirmed bookings, and that's brought in just over $12,000 for us. We have 7 more pending rentals right now. And so we're hoping to see at least another 4,500 from what's pending, maybe a little more if they do the add-ons and that kind of thing. And I am still getting some new ones. Actually, just the other day, someone called me to speak about a 2-day festival here at camp. So we are going to have to really talk to them about that one to get full details before moving forward with that. But that was exciting that people are reaching out. That was from Massachusetts, and they contacted us because they've been seeing our name. So we like to share our space. It's a beautiful space. We do want to offer everyone here. It does end up being a 50% discount on the pavilion and the room portion of rentals. So if you would like to book with us for this year, you can enjoy our pavilions for just $200 an hour. You can also enjoy our indoor rooms for just $100 an hour. And if you're not even sure what that means, just reach out to me because I love talking about it. So, oh, look at that. It's in here twice. Sorry about that. So thank you. Thank you to everyone who's helped us through this. Thank you to all of you being here and cheering us on, especially the Hartford Foundation for Public Giving, Larry and Mike with No Margin, No Mission, and of course, Sarah Leonard as well. So thank you everyone so much. We brought this from a hobby to a business, and it is because of this group that let us do that. So if you have any questions, please let us know.
Nice job, Tricia. Take yourself off screen share. Anybody have any questions about the pavilions at Camp Current? We've been to the space. It's fantastic. If you've never been there, it's worth taking a tour. And the events or the event that I've been to, it was just it was really remarkable in terms of how they designed it, decorated it, the food, the catering, and everything they did. I mean, it truly was, as Tricia, you've called it, rustic chic. That was a perfect way to describe it. Really a nice facility. All right. Doesn't look like there's any questions for you, Tricia.
Oh, it looks like Tony asked about how we arrived at the hourly rate. Well, it wasn't easy. We actually went back and forth a lot on the type of pricing. And what we came down to was looking at places that would sort of be competitors, even though it's hard to really compare the pavilions that we have with some local areas. But we did a lot of research on what other hourly rates were for the type of rentals that we tend to see here. And then we just went a little competitive as well with marking it down a little bit.
Well, and having the for-profit and the nonprofit rate too is a nice way to do your pricing, because it is attractive, obviously, to any nonprofit organization that's interested in booking, but understandably a bit of a premium for those that are outside of the nonprofit sector.
Yeah, I think everyone here got the extra discount, but we do have automatically nonprofit discounts for any nonprofit.
It's also worth, I think, just acknowledging that Tricia and the team at Camp Current, they have done a great job in terms of building visibility and spreading the word that, you know, camp is available for rent. And the more people that know about it, the more people that are reaching out. So this kind of that "Did you know" campaign, Tricia, that you shared has really been helpful in that regard. Just sort of planting the seed and letting people know that, you know, this is a great place to do an event, a meeting, a party. And also the press release, that you did to announce it officially and say Camp Current is now available for rent. You guys got incredible pickup on it. So, kind of 5 major publications in and around Greater Hartford took interest in it, published it, and now, that too has helped you generate some interest and some bookings. So it's a nice thing for, I think, the others on this Zoom to think about. If you haven't already done a release of some sort, how can you get a story from the local media on your venture? All right. With that, I think we're going to do a break. So 10 minutes. If you'd all take yourself off video, mute yourself. It is now 2:20. So if we can be back at 2:30 in 10 minutes, feel free to take a bio break and anything else you need to do, and we'll see you all in 10 minutes.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you. Welcome back, everybody. Why don't we move on to our next group, and that is Leadership Greater Hartford. And I think I'll turn it over to Tony. Is that correct? Getting a thumbs up?
Are we good? Can we all see the screen?
We can see it.
All right, great. Well, good afternoon, friends. Tony Saccone, I'm the Director of Consulting and Training for Leadership Greater Hartford, and I'm joined by Larissa Kakti, our President and CEO, and Andres Santiago, our Vice President and Chief Program Officer. Our Social Enterprise Accelerator project was based around our consulting and training practice and the transformation of that practice from one which was mainly doing short-term, fully customizable workshops to an organization where we could do longer engagements and build residual income for the organization to drive more earned income back into our programs. So the current state of the organization, the consulting and training practice, is that it's about 20% of the revenue of the organization. And as I mentioned, predominantly time-bound short-term engagements and very limited recurring income. And so the opportunity that after doing some really strong research, we found that the opportunity was that we have a sort of a graying of a workforce, baby boomers coming of retirement age, and a lot of organizations that are not investing in the leadership training to develop staff and prepare for succession as the next wave of leaders comes to the fore. So our solution, we spent time throughout the development and now the implementation period, developing a framework for a certification program that we could offer into the market at a competitive rate. And we settled on a framework that is multi-phase. And the multi-phase approach is designed to last over 2 to 3 years. And what happens is by doing that, we can sort of be flexible around the timeline, but some organizations might go through this quicker than others. But as you get into the second year or the third year of an engagement with us, our feeling is that it does a couple of things. One is a deeper engagement with an organization that offers consistent, ongoing leadership training. But additionally, it begins to build out some residual income for the organization. So we are not having to each year start the year with $0 budget and have to go from there and build an entire budget based on that year's marketing effort. So we developed this strategy of a discovery period where we will sit with an organization, with the stakeholders and decision makers, get an understanding of what their needs are. A phase that's around individual development of the leaders with half-day workshops and coaching. A phase that's around the team development, again with the half-day workshops, and a phase that will be themed. So if an organization determines that their challenges are in leadership, then we may spend the last phase working on leadership topics such as leadership styles and communication styles. But it may also be that that organization wants to go down a path of more diversity, equity, and belonging type of topics. So we would use that last phase to really give them a deep dive into those areas. Or it could be about community leadership, which is really important to Leadership Greater Hartford in our mission to build connections and develop vibrant communities. Then there'll be a debrief with post engagement monitoring and ongoing impact. So we can make sure that we do a few things here. One is build true results for organizations, but then have stories to tell to the next organization, data that we can cull from this work to be able to then either offer that data into the market or offer it to the next client to say, here are the testimonials, here is the work that we've been doing, and here are the results of that work so far. We spent a lot of time in terms of building out our donations and raising our capital, which we were successful with, and we received the full match from the Hartford Foundation. Thank you very much. We used our social a lot there. We had individual fundraising meetings. Larissa and her work with Sarah Leonard really helped us there and pushed us forward, and we feel really successful about that. I think the more importantly, we have more dollars that we budgeted for than what we've raised so far. But at the same time, a lot of the dollars that we had earmarked from this capital growth or capital raising were to offset our need to be so focused on the day-to-day operation and our current way of doing business and driving revenue. And actually, we've been really fortunate to be on budget with our traditional revenue, while at the same time have this the social enterprise program positioned now to be sold into the market, and we've begun that process already. So it's also, I wanted to make a quick mention of the fact that what we learned through this process is that we've not only created a marketing plan for our consulting and training certification program, which we've named Level Up. The Level Up marketing has now become sort of the platform for marketing for consulting in general. And we're going through a complete remarketing and website build and so forth. But now we have a strategy for consulting and training that follows the certification program strategy of explaining what the opportunities are, what our solutions look like, what makes us unique. And we're taking all of that language and building that through our marketing strategy for consulting and training. So I'm just going to quickly take you through, I'll skim. This is the first pitch deck that we created for the Level Up certification program. We've had one successful initial relationship building meeting with one organization. We have 3 more that are planned for this month. And we've also learned that to develop the relationship enough to get a commitment to a multi-year leadership training program, it takes more than one meeting with somebody. It takes that initial meeting to really get a sense of what they think. What do they think of the program? Get feedback on the program. How might it fit for them? But then it takes successive meetings around, okay, now that you've looked at this, how might we structure this to best work for your organization? So again, we would go through with them the opportunity, what our solutions are, and what differentiates us, and we offer them a view of other. We offer them a view of what other organizations have done with us and how this has worked for them. So we show them what type of engagement you can have with us. Obviously, we're featuring the extended engagements versus the project engagements, the shorter term engagements, but we show them that they can engage with us either way. Our curriculum design is kind of highlighted here, but what it really is about is while we do have a set curriculum, we try to really design our sessions around the talents and gifts of the people that are in the room, what it is that they need and what they expect, so that the sessions are interactive and move and have the maximum output. We've really been working around what's making us unique in the space. And in addition to the idea that we offer this great training, and as a nonprofit, we're able to come into the market at a really competitive price. We are all about developing hearts and minds, and we lead with that in our discussions with clients, and we try to get them to understand that their engagement with us is helping to build the community. It's not just building the community of their team, but it's helping to build the community of the greater Hartford.
2 minutes, Tony.
Okay. We feature Goodwin University as a success story. It was really our engagement with them a few years back that led to a program that looks a lot like the Level Up certification. So we take them through that. And then we talked about our engagement outcomes that are expected and what our measurables will be. I already mentioned where we are in terms of having had one first meeting, and we have 3 more planned. And that's really where we are in terms of our overall implementation. So we all want to thank the Hartford Foundation, No Margins, No Missions, and Sarah Leonard for everything that you've done, really helping us to get much more disciplined, focused, and consistent in our development of the consulting and training practice. We feel really good about where we are. We're happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Good. Thank you. Do you want to open it up? Take it off the screen share. Great. Any questions for Tony? Or anyone from Leadership Hartford?
Larry, I have a question. Nice job, Tony. First, love the name Level Up. I think it's a great name for your venture. Curious to know, so do you guys have like any sort of set pricing menu or fee schedule, or is it all customized depending on what the organization is looking for?
Yeah, great question. Actually, one of the real benefits of this relationship and this work has been to really zero in on our pricing and get a better sense of our pricing overall, and making sure that we're building profit margin in, and understanding what our costs are. It's the whole organization is sort of embraced the idea of tracking hours now, so we're doing that, and we do have a set price. We understand what our pricing should be, but then we will discount based on certain engagements, whether again it's nonprofits or so forth. What we have learned is that at the basic profit margin that we went in with, the market bears more than that, because our basic cost basis that we're starting from tends to be lower than some of the competitors. So we can have a greater profit margin and still be competitive, and then drive more profits ultimately back into the organization as we start to sell.
Right.
Any other
Tony,
questions for Tony?
Tony, I saw Mayor put a comment in the question in the chat, which is, who delivers the consulting services? Do you want to take that?
Sure. So part of our strategy here is to take our internal team, who have the particular content expertise, some of our higher level certifications, and have them focused on these deeper engagements. So we want to kind of keep them in reserve. So part of our strategy in terms of building out our financial model was to put more money aside for external consultants than we typically do for our traditional work. And that's actually worked out quite well. This year, we've had, I don't remember the percentages off the top of my head, but I'm getting ready, Larry, for our first implementation meeting, and we'll have those for you. but we've increased the percentage of external consultants doing that more project-based work. It's not to say that we believe that an external consultant is less valuable to us or less expert, but we bring them in, we make sure that they're vetted, that they understand our mission and what we're trying, our philosophy of training. But using them there allows us to then have a higher use and more efficient and effective use of our internal talent.
The one piece I'll add, and it was included on Tony's presentation, but phase 3, the sort of theme-based track of Level Up, is an opportunity for us to partner with and engage with peer organizations and external consultants, right? So if someone has a particular focus that they want to take their organization through, if it's DEIB, if it's, you know, like there are partners on this call, we'll talk about it later. But there are ways, right, of where we'll be pulling in additional consultants and friends to help deliver some of those pieces, just as we do with our project-based work when it aligns.
Great questions. We need to move on, but if you do have additional questions for Tony, go ahead and put them in the chat box. And maybe, Tony, you can keep watch on that and answer them. Just one additional comment. All of the presentations will be up on the Hartford Foundation website in the nonprofit support program sections. So you can go back and look there. And if you want to dive deeper into any of the presentations and get some more information, you can look at them all there after today. So Mike, I'll turn it back to you.
All right. So let's move on to the next group, which is the Conference of Churches and the 224 Ecospace. So I'm going to introduce Reverend Lydell Brown and Tamara Brown as well, and let you guys pull up your slides and jump right in. You've got 10 minutes.
So Tamara's going to take the first part.
All right. Tamara, I don't know if you're on mute.
Can everybody see the screen?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, good. So welcome everybody. I'm Tamara Brown. I am with the 224 Ecospace, which we are a social enterprise of the Conference of Churches. Okay, this thing is not going. So today we have, that's going to share the presentation, doing the presentation with me is Reverend Lydell Brown, which is our CEO. Andre Rochester is our AOC coordinator. He could not be with us today, but usually he would be here doing the presentation with us. That's why you see his lovely picture up there. So what is the 224 Ecospace? So the 224 Ecospace, through the Conference of Churches, the 224 Ecospace allows all people the opportunity to advance for greater good of themselves and the community. So what we actually do for the community is we provide space. So we offer members an array of valuable offerings with our space. We have a state-of-the-art community venue space. We have art gallery, space for communities of color. We have co-working and shared office space. We have studio rentals. If you've ever been here, you know we have ballet studios, yoga studios, and other dance studios. And we also host an array of educational workshops and trainings. So the focus of our strategy business plan was to raise capital growth so we can have improvements to the building, staffing, and marketing, communications, as well as our sales and development. So our goal is to reach $231,440. But so far out of that, we have raised $71,164. So that's actually great for us because we are actually just stepping back into the realm of fundraising when we haven't done it in a good while. So that's a great significant number for us. So how it all started, it started in January with our fast pitch. As you can see, everybody came down and we were able to pitch what the 224 is to people that we've met in the community, as well as had partnerships with. And we was able to give them our business plan and run down what we wanted the capital funds for. In addition to that, we did the 224 challenge. This is what our campaign that we created to get donations, to solicit donations from people. So we try to make it exciting and call it the 224 challenge. So we were challenging people to give us a donation of $224 or whatever they can afford. So it could have been $22.40 or anything, but we wanted to go in line with the 224. So we did that. We put it in our newsletter. We had dedicated email blasts for that. We put a pop-up on our website. We did social media, and we also put up posters in our building so people can actually go around the building, scan the QR code, and make a donation directly. In addition, our social media person created a video, beautiful video on our social media. So if you guys follow us on social media, we're the 224 Eco Space, there's a beautiful video there describing what the space is and what the challenge is, and that we wanted to raise the $30,000 so we can get the match. So we did get a good thing out of that. All of our hard work did pay off because we were able to receive an anonymous donation, which was a very significant amount that actually helped us reach that $71,000. So it goes to show that what we were doing was working. So far with the funds, we were able to use some of the donations that we received so far to put it towards our implementation of our business plan. So we were able to purchase a new projector. If you've been here before, we have our big collaboration space and you can display videos. We have a display screen there so you can display videos or presentations. We have a new sound system. We bought new folding tables so we can have bigger events in the collaboration center and we won't be limited by the amount of tables that we have. And we also made improvements to our Wi-Fi. If you've ever been to the 224 before, we are 30,000 square feet building, okay? So we need all these hotspots for our Wi-Fi to make sure it works, for all of our members. So we did improve our Wi-Fi signal so you can go around the whole 30,000 square feet and the signal will be strong. So upgrades that we would love to see coming in the future with the continued donations is we would like to purchase laptops for the facility. Right now we are working off desktops, so we feel like it'll be functional for our business to have laptops where we can bring around the building and interact more with our guests and members. We would like projector ceiling mounts. Right now our projector is in a stand, so you know, if you're clumsy like me, you can walk by it and trip over and knock it over. So we would like something affixed to the building so people couldn't knock over. So we would like to invest in a ceiling mount, new camera systems, just to improve security, and a new hanging system for our art gallery, because if you did not know, 224 is also an art gallery. So we have art displayed in our hallways, as well as a dedicated art gallery space. So we would like a hanging system, so it'll be easy for us to put up and take down artwork every quarter when we feature a new artist. So in addition with the funds, we wanted to hire an office coordinator. We are a small staff, so we wanted to expand our staffing. So we put out the office coordinator position, which was displayed on our website as well as our social media page, and I am proud to say that we did offer somebody the position yesterday, or 2 days ago on Tuesday, and she actually accepted. Her name is Aisha Lawrence. We did not get time to update the slide so you can see her picture and bio, but we are happy that we are able to hire somebody. Her ideas that's coming to the building is only going to expand us further. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Reverend Brown so he can take over the rest of the presentation.
Thank you so much, Tamara, and great job. And so continuing with our slideshow, we have also put together a preferred vendor list. And so we have Fire by Forge, Lucinda, and also Island Cuisine. As you know, with most venues, even though you might not have had cooked the food or had a chef in-house, if the food is good, you get credit. And if it's not so good, you also get credit. So we just wanted to make sure that we had a preferred vendor list. Next slide. The other thing is we've been marketing like mad. I mean, we have just been going crazy. We were doing marketing before, but right now, I mean, there's new content going up every other day. And so this is some of the content that we've had. As you can read again, you say, well, why do we do what we do? We are believers, we are disruptors, and we are courageous. And so these are some of the content that's been going up on our social media. We're really excited. We're getting ready to launch tomorrow at 12 noon, our brand new website for the 224 EcoSpace. And so we're really excited. It is a state-of-the-art website, has all of the bells and whistles, and we are really happy with it. It's like going to the mall and coming inside of the building and looking on a chart to see where you want to go and shop. And so that's exactly what our website will be doing for our new customers and for folk who just want to know who we are. Again, we're just upping our game when it comes to social media. One of the things that we knew we had to do is that because we are such small staff, we knew that we needed to have someone who would be dedicated just to doing social media for us. And so we have our social media maven, which is really our social media manager, and that is Nivea Easterlin. She is prolific when it comes to doing reels and things of that nature. I mean, she makes us look real good. We already look good, but she makes us look even better.
Lydell, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you. We're also pursuing new business, and so we have hired our new business development consultant, Jeanette Dardan. Some of you might know her. So she's actually going to be bringing new business into the building, going to be doing cold calls, going to be setting up meetings. And so the sky is the limit. With that said, we've been winning new clients. And so, so far, just this year, we have the Hart School of Dance, Education Consulting Incorporated, Fire by Forge, we have CREC, we have New England Donor Services, we have Hartford Land Bank, Leadership Greater Hartford, and our piece of the pie. The thing that we're really excited about is that tomorrow was our office manager / bookkeeper. And so she has done such a great job that we want to move her to be the events manager. So with the new office coordinator coming in, she will then hand off a lot of her duties to her. And tomorrow we'll be spending most of her time with just sealing the deal. And so there shall be no money left on the table. Our year-to-date revenue for the 224 thus far is $118,000. And speaking of new business, we would actually love yours. And so we want to offer a 20% discount to all of you for any future bookings at the 224 EcoSpace. Lastly, we just want to say thank you and let you all know that we appreciate your participation and support, especially to the Hartford Foundation for Public Giving, No Margin, No Mission, Larry and Mike, the Sarah Lena Group, our donors, board staff, volunteers, clients, and customers. With that said, are there any questions?
Nice job, Tamara and Lydell. Go ahead and take yourselves off of screen share. And a few comments in the chat box in case you didn't see them. Godfrey Simmons said, congrats on the new hire. Larissa said, all three of your caterers are fabulous. Karen Fisk said, your social media is so strong. Wow. And Artie Hill said, congrats, Tamara.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions? All right, well, with that, then why don't we keep moving? And Larry, I'll turn it back to you.
All right. Let's move on to Urban League of Greater Hartford. And I will turn it over to, I believe, David will be running the slide deck.
Correct. That's correct, Larry. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Everybody good? Can see the slide deck?
We can.
Okay. Sorry.
We can't see you, but that's okay, I guess.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
Waited all this time to be right on cue and then something happened. I'm actually just trying to stall so I can cut into some of this 10 minutes I need to spend. All right, good afternoon, everyone. I'm David Hopkins. I'm the president and CEO of the Urban League of Greater Hartford. Joining me on the call today is our Special Projects and Strategic Initiatives Manager, Artie Hill. She'll share more in the second session when we get into some of the Q&A. And frankly, I think most of the value from what our presentation is will come from that Q&A session. But just a little bit of a background on the Urban League. Many people know us as a legacy civil rights organization, started in 1910 and here in Hartford in 1964. So we're celebrating our 60th anniversary, but our mission is to promote racial equity through economic empowerment. We do programming in the 5 pillars, what we identify as 5 pillars to create economic mobility for Black Americans and most people marginalized or most marginalized communities, which is through education, employment, housing, health, and justice. And so when you think about the Urban League and you think about the work that we do, while it is, as I would say explicitly, targeting the Black American community, it really does look at the impact, the historical impact of inequities that kind of somewhat poetically, many of the other ventures that were shared today touch on. And this is the space where the Urban League lives. And so ostensibly, this is where our venture, kind of shows up. We have, over time, at least in the 5 years that I've been with the Urban League, found ourselves in conversations with stakeholders in the community, particularly from the corporate space, trying to identify ways that they can fulfill their corporate social responsibility and addressing challenges that they face either in their own organization or in the way to execute their mission and delivery of products and services. And that is to penetrate communities that again have historically not been a part of their target market, or at least um, um, fulfill some levels of representation, and that they haven't reflected that same representation in their organization. So we recognize that there's a societal problem and there's a solution. And for us, at least in the way of identifying where the intersection is between the problem and the solution, we think it lies primarily in representation, awareness, or cultural awareness, inclusive leadership, investment, and accountability. And many organizations were brought to address this and face it more directly in 2020 with the impact of the outcome of the murder of George Floyd and what we saw through the Black Lives Matter movement. And so we recognize that a number of community stakeholders and people in society in general just wanted to do better. We recognize that there are a number of groups, if you will, that face challenges, but I think one of the things where the Urban League sits and what the role that we play in the landscape of nonprofits and social organizations is to be directly in that space where it again reflects the ills that have plagued our community and really made so many people miss out on the opportunities that exist for others. And so what we found is that we were in conversations that recognize the Urban League's role, its value proposition, and its alignment with again, corporate social responsibility and opportunities that people may identify as resolutions to some of these societal ills. But they would reach out to the Urban League and invite us to conversations, serve on councils and panels, and participate in focus groups and so forth, and really leveraging and taking advantage of our lived experiences, our brand, our again, historical purview, and the work that we do in programming. And we would find ourselves, frankly, sitting, at the table next to, and me even being, facilitating a conversation with, paid consultants in this space, and really felt like we had an opportunity to present a business proposition to those stakeholders who saw our value, but didn't, include it in their business model as something that they would pay for. So, this venture gave us an opportunity to address that and see what we can see, what would people be willing to pay for. So we recognized that we needed to build out a few elements of a business that would include, of course, raising the capital, identifying our staffing model, and building guidelines, and ultimately a curriculum, or at least a model for how we might service these gaps in addressing those issues that I listed before. And the way that this project has evolved, we've been able to at least structure a budget. We identified a number that was about $74,000 that we probably need to raise to support the work set that we had to fulfill and to start developing again a business proposition. So we've gone down that path to a degree, but we've this is why I say that what we'll share later in the Q&A and some of the things that we discovered revealed, of course, with our fundraising. We did the pitch, and the pitch didn't result in the outcomes that we had hoped, and we really revisited that and considered really the proposition, which is essentially a service. And what we found in one client that we had engaged along the way was that we could probably do just as well to commingle the pitch for investment with a pitch for sales. And we were able to do that. And so we, again, have a couple of clients on hand, but one we're really doing actual work with. The others are still being developed. But we were able to raise some money. And so that allowed us to really kind of offset some of the internal costs that we were absorbing just to kind of get this going. We have, again, from the business plan, a way that we anticipate servicing the opportunities really through identifying the needs of the organization or the prospective client, and based on either what the requirements are for delivering that service or what we think we need or the gaps that we might even have internally, we have identified a consulting practice that we will build into our model to help us deliver some of those services that apply to the business opportunity. But that consultant is also going to help us with again developing our marketing communication. And the reason why I say that is because, again, the line between what the Urban League does historically, again, as I mentioned, the way people identify the Urban League and work with us in the past, we worked with the community in the past, and the line between what a consulting service might look like is very, 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 very gray. And that blurred line is really right about where we seem to be bumping into what ultimately serves as the value proposition. So
2 minutes, 2 minutes, Dave. 2 minutes, David.
Yep, thank you. So we're excited that we've been able to get through a lot of just kind of the thought work around this. And one of the things that we want to do was get some additional training, which we've been able to do through United Way. Like I said, we're going to be working towards developing our sales model and the packages that will ultimately be presented to prospective clients. And that's it.
Thank you, David. Any questions for David or the team from the Urban League? Okay. Thank you, David. Let's go on to the last group, Rise Ventures. And I think Alice is going to take it over from here. Alice Turner.
Thank you, Larry.
Yeah.
So
you have 10 minutes.
Hello, everyone. As Larry said, my name is Alice, and I am the founder and executive director of Rise Ventures. I'm all excited about our venture, which we call Omni Print Plus. On the call is, we'll go back. I was just going to say we don't have a slide for it, but on the call is Team Rise, and that includes Sarah, who is our full-time program manager, graphic designer, social media guru, and our board president, Will Jakes, who has been a part of this process and supported it from the very beginning. So again, we make up Team Rise, and we have been the Omni Print Plus team that has worked with Larry over the last few months. Now, next slide, please. So what is Omni Print Plus? So I think I'll just take a quick step back and say that Rise as a nonprofit focuses on empowering and educating aspiring young entrepreneurs. So students who are interested in taking their entrepreneurial journey and find out ways to start it, scale it, launch it, and we focus on helping Opportunity Youth do that. So along the way, we said, well, it's one thing to learn about business and entrepreneurship and what it means to be in business. And it's a whole nother thing to experience it. And so we created Omni Print Plus to offer that hands-on experiential process for students to take them beyond the classroom. So Omni, as we call it, is a community print and digital media shop with a purpose. So our purpose is to offer opportunity youth who represent youth between 16 and 24 years old who are either out of school or out of work or at risk of being out of school and out of work. Opportunities to learn and earn. It's, again, hands-on and experiential process that gives some students who are learn differently a chance to really understand what it means to run a business. The best part of it, as with all of us, the income that we generate from our OmniPrint Plus venture allows us to reinvest it into our programs and services for youth. Next slide. So we are still a work in progress. I'm very pleased to say that we've raised $60,000 of the $127,000 goal that we have. So I'm especially grateful for the Hartford Foundation for helping us get to that goal. It is a work in progress, and it is, as I like to say, it's a marathon and not a sprint. So we will and are continuing our fundraising efforts to get to our goal of $127,000, still by the end of the year. So one of the major ways in which we were able to raise the $60,000 was through a very aggressive crowdfunding campaign. So we used a crowdfunding platform to raise the funds. And this is an example that Sarah created that allowed us to appeal to our family and friends and ask them to support our venture. And we're really pleased to say that it was a combination of alumni, which was really exciting, and former participants who helped us reach the goal. And this was part of our social media campaign as well. So on the next slide, you can see, I think it was the 224 who also said that they had a very aggressive social media campaign and a very aggressive campaign to raise the funds. And I guess I get to say, we too. And so we were able to reach our goal for that. And we spent a lot of time on that. It also allowed us to create awareness of who we are and just what is Omni and how does that relate to our overall mission. Next slide. So where are we now? So since our launch in January, as you know, all of us were spending a lot of time focusing on raising the capital by the deadline, but we were also doing some marketing and sales. And so we did some pop-up markets at the first one in February, which is at Duncan Park. And here's an image of Sarah at that event. And we were fortunately able to get a customer or two out of that. So big shout out to Artie at the Urban League. We saw her there. She followed up and became a customer. And so we're really excited about that. Next slide. So another event that we had, which was just recent on June 1st, we had our first public event. It was for small businesses. So we sponsored a digital marketing cafe. We called it a creative business cafe, but it was all about introducing digital media and marketing concepts to startup entrepreneurs, and really excited. It was a Saturday morning and we had a great crowd. And as a matter of fact, we sold out. So we were really excited about that. And I do want to take a minute to say a little bit about Omni. I guess you could call it a shameless plug or commercial, and share with you that while print is in our name, we are Print Plus, meaning that, yes, we are able to develop and print traditional flyers, postcard signs, and banners, but we also focus on design. So we have helped clients, both nonprofits and small business owners, with websites, logos, and things of that nature. Our revenue to date is about $14,000. We're really closing in on $15,000, which we're pretty excited about. We know that there's some more opportunity and more potential. And as I said, June 1st was our first official public, I guess we could call it a soft launch. And so we, do hope to substantially increase that number when we get really focused on implementing our marketing plan through the next few months. So I also want to share and shout out the Harriet Beecher Stowe Center. we were able to have them as a customer from the very beginning. So in January, when we all had to produce our business plans, we got a call from the Harriet Beecher Stowe Center and said, hey, would you guys like to print our plan? And we said, absolutely. So I thank our partners, Urban League and Harriet Beecher Stowe, for being our early adopters, our early customers. And also one final shout out to Urban League is our very first intern whose picture I skipped over is a paid intern that comes to us from the Urban League. And so, you know, we're really proud to say that while making money is important for us because it allows us to offset our expenses, but we also want to make a difference and we want to hire youth from the community. And so we were referred by Urban League by Corinda Richardson, a young lady who is a graphic design senior at Prince Tech High School. She'll be going off to UConn in the fall. And so we're really excited about how that figures into our overall vision. And then for those of us who are local, if you just go back real quickly, for those of us who are local, you probably know about the Hartford Jazz Festival, that mega free concert that is held every July. Well, I'm proud to say that the Hartford Jazz Festival has also become a customer. And so we're producing their cards and a lot of the print material that they have. And the final comment about the Springfield Collective is just to show that we have had customers, you know, to the north and to the south from, you know, Springfield to New Haven. So we're excited about that progress. And now we just want to show you a couple of our design projects, how we are able to create branding guidelines for a customer. Those of you who are local.
2 minutes,
Yeah.
Alice.
Thank you. May know Viola Haldane and the project that she's doing with 100 Homes in 1,000 Days. So we created the brand guidelines for that. And we also created their materials and website. Next slide. Here's yet another website that we created for two nonprofits. One nonprofit, Dax Foundation, and a for-profit business, a studio that's called Goshi Sheng. And next slide. Our next step. So as I said, we have our first actual intern. We're looking to have our first cohort of interns for the summer, thanks to funding we received from the Hartford Foundation for July and August. We do hope to relocate to Western Street in September, our new location, which will combine both URISE and Omni. We'll have a grand opening. And as I mentioned, we're in an ongoing mode to raise startup capital. And so we echo the sentiments of everyone who has gone before us and like to thank our donors and supporters, our early adopters, our leadership board and staff, especially our board president, Will. He has been a part of this process. He's taken this ride with us from the very beginning. And of course, we could not have done it without the Hartford Foundation, No Margin, No Mission, and Sarah Leonard. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And now, any questions?
All right, thank you, Alice. Any questions for Alice or the team? Mike.
Just a comment, Alice, to you and the team, really well done. Love the concept of the Creative Cafe. Your work is stellar. I know, just having seen what you produced for the Stowe Center for their fast pitch, it was great. And love seeing the design that you did for the websites. So congrats to all on a great job. Thank you.
And so I didn't put in the slide, but we are having a promotion, and our goal is if with your permission, would like to reach out to, I don't know if you can see my cards, but we'd like to reach out to all of the entrepreneurial aid and offer you as well a grand opening special. Can you see this card? I'm trying to show you, but we would love to share that with you and join others in offering a promotional special discount. So check your inbox.
Also in the chat box, you've got glowing reviews from Karen Fisk at Harriet Beecher Stowe Center and Larissa Kotke at Leadership Greater Hartford. So congrats.
Thank you all. Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, so you can see from the clock that our time has dwindled quite quickly. And what we're suggesting we do is if you have a hard stop at 3:30, certainly feel free to go on your way and do what you need to do. We will stay on just for a little extra time so we can try to get through some of our learning and sharing topics. So with that, let's just dive in. If you have to drop off, we understand, but if you can stay on a little bit longer, please do. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually post the talking points for the 5 learning and sharing topics to the website. So they will be available for everybody to review if you're not able to stay on and if we don't get through all of them. So with that, I'm going to go back to our slideshow and we'll jump into our first learning and sharing topic, which is what worked best. Let me just get to this. So of all the business plan implementation activities that have taken place over the past 4 months, share the one that's offered the greatest benefits and explain why. So if we can start with AHM, what worked best? Just share one.
Yeah, I think so far the hiring of our clinical supervisor has been our best accomplishment so far, just because that's kind of the catalyst for this whole expansion. Our plan is to kind of try this cohort out. And if this kind of grouping of employees is successful, after we work out some tweaks and things, we're pretty confident that we could add additional cohorts. So it really is the foundation to potentially a larger expansion in the future. And that for us is just really, really exciting.
Excellent. So hiring your new staff member. Let's go to Harriet Beecher Stowe Center. What worked best?
Yep, sorry, that's me. I was trying to find my mute button. So I think certainly on a similar vein to what the comment was just made, we raised a decent amount of money. We met our goal. We raised it early. One of the big things for us was making a hire. And so we wanted to hire separately a sales and marketing manager because we thought it was really important to have somebody separate focus on that. And so what worked well is we interviewed several good candidates, and then we hired the very best candidate, Mary Angie Pena, who's actually joining the call here. So having that at the same time that we're developing the plan and beginning to execute, as opposed to hiring down the road, that was super beneficial because the strategy is kind of all thought together and making the sale. So I think that was probably the best thing to have happened to us in the process.
Nice. Thanks, Dave. So we got 2 groups who have said, responded sort of the same way with new hires. And let's go to the next group, which is a Heartbeat Ensemble.
Yes. Hey. In terms of like what worked best, I'd say probably what was great was to be able to kind of just clarify our messaging around what we do. We kind of just started to begin thinking about it again several years ago. And through this process, we've been able to really codify and hone in on how we talk about what we do and how we're communicating it to people, and how that can actually translate into, for lack of a better word, bookings. It's like it feels a little, we can't get that money, but like, I don't know. But you know what I mean? But yeah, it's just really helped to hone things down for us.
Yeah, being able to articulate it clearly so that as you're out talking, pitching, it becomes even more clear to each of you. So thank you for that, Godfrey. Let's go to Camp Current. What worked best?
Hi, everybody. So what worked best for us is that we started moving away from it being a hobby. So renting our facilities or people using our space, we definitely had more of as a community partner relationship, a handshake relationship. So firming that up and really making it more of a business to earn the true revenue behind this has been what's been working for us.
That's great. Thanks for sharing that, Corianne. So yeah, from hobby to business is certainly a good one. Okay, let's go to the next group. So Leadership Greater Hartford.
I think for me and where I sit, the most important moment of this has been creating the time and space for our program team to build the product, right? So seeing Tony and Andre work together to really create the framework of what we want to deliver, what is our vision of the solution that will really meet the needs of businesses in our region, and how do we really support leadership teams transform. So because we raised some funds, because we were outsourcing our day-to-day consulting and training work to external clients, they've been able to design and put together a product that we're really proud of and really excited to get to market.
That's a good one. Thanks, Larissa. Yeah, it's one thing to have a business plan, but it's another thing to implement it and bring it to life and actually build it. So good one. Let's go to the 224 EcoSpace.
So what really worked with us, through our promotions, we were able to get more people into the building, give them tours, tell them about our history and what we're about. So I think that resonated with a lot of people, and that actually led to more business and donations. So that's actually what's working for us, telling our story.
That's great, Tamara. Yeah. Don't be the best secret, right? Let people know what you've got to offer them. Let's go to Urban League.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would say I kind of want to echo what Leadership Greater Hartford said, Larissa, in terms of really trying to focus on the implementation when you're trying to do the programming that you're already supposed to do. Was really challenging for us. What we appreciate was the weekly debriefing sessions with Larry and his ability to keep us focused and to be able to be a cheerleader and continue to keep us moving forward was quite helpful, because it is one thing to, work on the business plan, but having him be on the outside of not being involved in what we're doing on a day-to-day basis, and his only focus was to keep us focused, was really appreciated. So I know that was quite helpful for us.
That's great. Thanks, Artie. Yeah, everybody's got daytime jobs and lots of demands. So being able to carve out the time and space to actually implement the plan and bring it to life is important. So let's see. Lastly, let's go to you, Rise.
Yeah, so what worked best for us, we felt that the startup capital we raised has made a big difference thus far, specifically because I was able to become a full-time program manager, which it made a massive difference because we are kind of stretched on resources since Alice is the one who handles a lot of stuff. So with the capital and with me becoming full-time, I was able to focus a lot on the implementation of the business plan and laying the foundation for actually providing some of the graphic design services and for coming up with operations processes, while she could focus on the URISE program a bit more. And we were also able to use the funds to purchase some promotional items and get involved in local events.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that, Sarah. Let's go on to the second topic. So Larry, I'll let you introduce that one.
I was actually going to skip to the last one, Mike, just to make sure that we covered that one, because I know some people are going to have to drop off. And then we could go back if we still have folks on. I just want to make sure people share their partnership and collaboration ideas. Share which one of the entrepreneurial aid organizations you've collaborated with or would like to collaborate with, and explain how you have or would like to. I think some of you have already collaborated and would like to, and I know some of you have to drop off. And those that would like to collaborate with others, please share those ideas. Let's start with Harriet Beecher Stowe.
I was just looking to see if Yatina, who had to give a tour, is back on the call, and I don't think she is. So I'm just going to jump in to say that honestly, listening to everybody today, my mind was working on how we could work with everybody on this call. Particularly, we have had some chats with Heartbeat, and we'd like to continue those chats. Their beloved community conversation model is really powerful, and we think that we could complement it with our history conversations.
All right, good, thank you. What about Heartbeat?
Thank you. So yeah, of course, we were going to say Stowe. We've already collaborated on a couple of things already. Hey, and so that's great in terms of conversations around some of our plays that kind of dovetail with theirs, and it's really actually exciting. There's some more stuff coming up, but we're really fascinated by the Stowe on the Go project. We're interested in engaging with HFPG to offer stories toward a beloved community, to like their grantees as a possibility. We think that it could be cool in terms of working with some of those folks around equity and inclusion and building some equitable working environments and granting environments. And then also very interested in URISE, see how we might be able to connect around printing programs, or perhaps, there's a dream we've got of publishing new scripts that we either commission or that we're producing. And so that would be a really exciting way to kind of see how we can kind of connect there.
Good. Hopefully everyone's jotting down these ideas. Alice will be following up with you, Godfrey, tomorrow, if not today, I'm sure.
Please.
Camp Current.
So everyone has really amazing and important business ventures. Really love them all. We have a more immediate sense right now, I think, to connect with URISE, with Omni Plus printing and design, because we need that. So we would like to connect with them.
Hey, Trisha, I saw there's a comment in the chat box from Andre at Leadership Greater Hartford. He says, I'm going to have my birthday party at Camp Current.
Oh, perfect. I hope we're invited.
There's a good follow-up. Well,
Okay, Andre.
Janika said she wants an invite too.
Yeah, I think we should all be.
I know Tressa wants to do a staff retreat there too, or something. So I might have just stolen her thunder.
We've got the
Leadership Greater Hartford.
It's not one partner, it's all of them, right? So those doing the programmatic consulting services, there's a lot of opportunities for us to explore with you. We want to understand your offerings and find ways that we can engage you in some of the work we do. Those of you with venues, we love bringing our groups to your sites. We can help you promote your sites in that way. When we bring a group of 50 questers or 25 executives into your spaces. So we want to be a partner to help you elevate your visibility in that way. And as I said in the chat, URISE, we've got a lot of printing coming up with a rebrand. So I just sent a note to our marketing manager to get some quotes from you as we're getting new business cards. So we'll be in touch with all of you soon. Please know to be in touch with us as well.
Awesome. Good. 224 Ecospace.
So I think one of the things that we want to do, we want to expand and build on the existing partnerships that we have with Leadership Greater Hartford and Hartford Heartbeat Ensemble. I definitely want to do some work with URISE. I'm just want to be nosy to go to Camp Current because I just love the stuff that they're doing. I know we have some similarities there. And lastly, I've been contacted by the CEO of the Greater Hartford, the Urban League of Greater Hartford for lunch. And so we'll see where those conversations go. But yeah, I want to work with everyone as well. But, we can't be every place at the same time.
Good. All right. Urban League, David.
Yes, since we start generating some revenue from this business, we can afford to partner with some of you all. But in the meantime, I think someone mentioned all the ventures are very impactful, and I think they have a place in essentially what we will do at some point in our work. So yeah, I look forward to working with all of you.
Alice, URISE.
Yes, I can answer, but I was thinking Will was going to. He's been quiet. But one thing I did want to mention is that we have an annual youth pitch competition, and we have used the 224 Eco Space for that. It's a beautiful area and room, and we really had a great opportunity to have the meeting there, and it's just really awesome. And so, like others, I would love to share the love, and I'm with Dave. When we get more funds, we'll be able to have more opportunities to share the love with all of you. From having our retreat at Camp Current, since I live in Farmington and it is beautiful. It's just limited for us right now in terms of what we can do, but we absolutely, as we go forward into the year, want to look for opportunities to partner.
Yeah, I know we're running out of time and I always go off script. Sorry about that, Alice. But I just wanted to say also that while I absolutely appreciate the business, so we're definitely on margin, but I just wanted to not lose sight of the fact that we want to be on mission as well. There is not one group sitting here that I wouldn't want to have a one-to-one with, which is kind of like the OBNI speak, but I'd love to sit down with each one of you. There might be some sort of an opportunity for us to bring programs together. So that's what I really look to do. But as well, for Omni, we'd love to have your print and digital business as well. So appreciate it. Thanks. Sorry, Alice.
No problem.
Okay.
And last, AHM. Tressa, are you still on?
Oh yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, like you
okay.
said, Larry, I'd love to talk to Camp Current at some point doing a staff and a board retreat. I've got a really fun group that, is always looking for something fun to do. So I think that would be awesome. And then like many of the other organizations, we do a lot of print work. So always looking for opportunities to, boost business for locals versus those online big type printing companies. I'm really interested in that.
Mike.
I was just going to say too, yes, and keep in mind, all of you, that there are other 16 other organizations that have gone through the Social Enterprise Accelerator, the Tenacious 10, the Super 6. So please feel free to reach out to them too, since they are all part of the family. If you need their emails, their names, their lists, we know how to reach them, so we can share that with you, either Larry or myself. So thanks again for those of you who are holding on. We're going to go to another one of our learning and sharing topics. We're going to skip to the one that's called ripple effects, because we really like that one and we'd like to hear what you had to share. So just briefly, I will read this one. And that is, share the single most important ripple effect, which we're defining as unexpected outcome that has occurred organizationally as a result of this implementation phase of work. So please, let's share your ripple effect, and one would be fine. So why don't we start with, let's see, how about Camp Current?
So our ripple effect is that we have more awareness and visibility for camp. The higher profile we seem to be pushing through all of the press releases, articles in the paper, social media posts, and it's just kind of taking off. So every little thing that we're doing, whether it's hosting networking groups or inviting people out for different events or retreats, someone from that event usually wants to book. So it's been a really nice effect once people actually see the space and see what camp is, as opposed to us just talking about it, which has been really nice.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people on this call have been to camp, and I'm not going to speak for all of you. I feel like when we talked about camp before you walked in and saw it, it was like, oh wait, this is camp. So that has definitely been happening to us over and over again.
Yeah, agreed. To see it is to love it, for sure. So nice. Thanks for sharing. Good ripple effect. Let's go to, I don't know if anybody is still on from Heartbeat. Unless Janika, are you still there? No. All right. So let's skip over to the Stowe Center.
I think our greatest ripple effect was the work we did together with Sarah Leonard to identify prospective donors. It really helped us dive back into a very neglected donor database, really kickstarted our fundraising overall. And now we have this incredible group of invested people watching this program grow. So it's been very, very positive for us.
Nice. Yes. Adding new donors and refriending, revisiting older ones is definitely a great ripple effect. Thank you for sharing that, Karen. AHM.
Yeah, so our ripple effect is kind of similar when talking about donors. Our situation we had was we had a foundation that couldn't attend our fast pitch. So we ended up doing like a one-on-one virtual fast pitch for them. And this was a foundation. And so they had some follow-up questions, but then they talked to some people on their board about our fast pitch and our mission. And we ended up having a pretty large donation come directly from somebody on that foundation who isn't from our area, but was just very moved by our mission and the work we're doing with youth and mental health. And so for us, it was just understanding and valuing all the conversations that we have with everyone, because you never know how that trail of knowledge is going to kind of get out there. And as other people have heard about what we're doing, and as it tugs upon their heartstrings, they're then moved to come and join our organization and help us. So that's been very empowering and somewhat humbling to know how important those small conversations really, really are.
Nice. Thanks, Tressa. Let's go to you, Rise. What's your ripple effect?
Is that the same as the aha moment?
No, but if you want to, if you want to share your aha moment, you're welcome to.
No, I just learned last night what I was supposed to share. And well, I can always ad lib and go off script. But anyway, I think it kind of goes in line. I think what we learned was, and not to be pejorative, but size does matter, right? So, you know, as we embarked on this, we realized that we had all the best intentions, but certainly certain services, accounting, you know, just buying product, you know, without that that base of dollars, you know, and we certainly appreciate what we've gotten, but it just isn't enough for us to kind of truly implement. So now we've had to go back and kind of revamp, refocus on, okay, we can't get all of what we thought we were going to get, and now we need to go look for the low-hanging fruit. What can we do now to kind of generate those dollars? So again, just to reiterate, you know, the idea of being a startup, really a startup, versus looking at the funds as a boost to something that was already existing. We are seed. We're not just adding funds to something that exists. We're truly going from the ground up. And so I think as we go through this planning, or if we get a chance to talk with others going through this planning in the future, we kind of want to make sure that you have that contingency plan. You still can earn the dollars. And with Alice and Sarah kind of doing a tremendous amount of work, we figured out how to kind of get back on track without losing too far, despite the fact that the funds that we really need to kind of launch just wasn't quite there. But, you know, we don't consider that a failure, but it's certainly a redirect, and as we like to say, a pivot.
Thanks, Will. Let's go to Leadership Greater Hartford. What's
Sure.
your effect?
You know, like many of you, it was a great opportunity for us to reignite and deepen our relationships with past and current constituents. It's been a great opportunity to build relationships. While the sale is important to us, it's really about the relationships first and foremost. And this was a great reminder for us. And I think this process really reignited the passion for the work that we do amongst not only our staff, but our board as well. And really empowering our board to be the champions for this work has been a wonderful ripple effect for us.
So reignition, both in terms of your own team and also donors. We're definitely seeing some common themes here. Let's see, Urban League, David, or whoever might want to share. Is there a ripple effect?
Yeah, I think to some degree, I'm gonna use Will's word pivot because I think that one of the impetus for us was again trying to figure out how to um, uh, be a partner around DEI work, just as DEI was becoming a negative in many spaces, and language was being transitioned to things like dignity and rather than diversity. And so the ripple effect for us has been to kind of pivot, find the language that may be more acceptable. And I've seen language that says inclusive leadership or inclusive technology or inclusive marketing, and it's these nuances in language. So the ripple effect has been for us to figure out how to do that, but in turn, because we're part of a network or of affiliates among the Urban League movement across the country, other affiliates are doing something similar. And so we're able to, contribute our venture here in this space, provided as some learning to others, and then benefit from what they've also experienced in their exploration of ways to create a revenue generating.
We got a couple of pivots. Not everything goes exactly according to plan. And that's understandable. Business is not a science. So get it. Last, the 224, Liddell or Tamara, what's your ripple effect?
So I would say one of the ripple effects from the implementation process was that it served as a rallying cry as far as our board goes. Our board really stepped up to the plate, and they gave meaningful donations. Not only that, but some of our former board members as well. And so that just encouraged me, staff, to know that we had a board that actually put their money where their mouth is.
Yeah. So, rallying cry, reinvigorating, uniting, creating more sort of internal team partnership is a great ripple effect. So again, another common theme. All right. So we appreciate all of you holding on with us. There are still two of our learning and sharing topics that we did not get to, but we will post those on our site. One was a challenge or hurdle, and the other one was an aha moment. So just in terms of wrapping things up, where do we go from here? Well, this signals now moving from our weekly implementation Zoom sessions to now meeting once a month for an hour. So you can free up those weekly meetings that are on your calendars with us, meaning Larry or myself. And hopefully, though, you'll keep those meetings internally for your team so you can keep pushing forward with your earned income ventures, maintain that communication, that rigor, and that discipline. We'll be checking in with you once each month for an hour to track and monitor your progress. You're stuck with us for a couple more years, July of 24 through June of 26.
Hey there, Liddell, this is Pat.
And Larry and I'll be following up with each of your teams, if we haven't done so already, to get a date and time on the calendar for our regular sessions. Again, 1 hour per month. And our focus is really going to be on how are you doing against your business plan goals? What kind of challenges or opportunities might you be seeing? How can we address those, help you overcome them? Are there, opportunities that perhaps you're seeing that maybe we can brainstorm and discuss how to approach? And then, is there any course correction that's needed as you're pursuing your business? Again, remember, like we were just saying, not all business goes according to plan. So we have to be able to address and keep moving and course correct as we go. So with that, we want to give everybody a huge round of applause. Each of your teams have worked incredibly hard. Your participation has been tremendous. And you've all moved mountains in a very short period of time. It is not easy to implement and bring a business plan to life, but you all have done it with quite remarkable poise, enthusiasm, and really remarkable outcomes, even during this short period of time. Again, we want to acknowledge to the Hartford Foundation and the NSP team our thanks for supporting this initiative. You have all echoed that as you've shared in your presentations. And before we wrap, we do want to ask you all to complete a short follow-up survey about this session, and also just your participation in general in the Social Enterprise Accelerator. So you can certainly feel free to scan this with your mobile, and it'll take you right to the survey. Or I believe, Mayor or Monica, we're going to put a link into the chat box. You can do it that way, and it will also be in our follow-up email that will be coming from the foundation, along with today's presentations, the talking and sharing points, and you'll all have that available for you to refer to. So with that, again, thank you all for sticking with us, for staying on, for going overtime. We certainly appreciate it, and we appreciate all of you. And again, just a big round of applause.
Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
everybody. Take care. We'll talk.